Teacher shortages right across Canada are not expected to end anytime soon, as the number of retirements and student enrollment are both on the rise. Ontario's Ministry of Education projecting a teacher shortage across the entire education system that will start in 2027. So how do we go about attracting and keeping our educators? Joining us with his thoughts this morning is education strategist Dwayne Matthews. Always great to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Here's what you have to know about Dwayne. We have this conversation and then we talk for like 35 minutes after the show because you always have such interesting things to say. Listen, when it comes to issues like burnout and workload, those pressures are real concerns. Those are real life concerns for educators. Where do you start in terms of trying to address those?
So I think the very first thing is to think that teacher burnout is real, it's global, and it's systemic. And, you know, I want you to imagine a glass that holds 250 milliliters of water and then trying to put a liter of water into that glass. How do you do it? You have a few options, but if you try to squeeze it all the time, it's not necessarily going to work. And this is the challenge with teacher burnout. The expectation is that teachers can be all things to all people, and that's just not possible.
Yeah, we have to talk about AI in this conversation. I feel like you and I are always talking about AI either over DMs or after the show, but it's an important part of this rapidly changing landscape when it comes to education, not only for teachers, but our kids as well. So what does that look like in terms of integrating AI tools into teaching training?
Well, I think the very big thing is in the next 2 years, AI is going to be everywhere, and anybody that's working at all is going to be interacting with it. So I think teacher training needs to include that. What I would like to see is focusing on how do you create cognitive surplus for teacher creativity. Teaching is a helping profession. That's what people went in to do. And you do that by really shifting a lot of the administrative tasks to AI. So training teachers to be able to move the administrative tasks to AI and really focus with that extra space. I'd also like to see AI be used at the education level. There's lots of resource constraints, and I think AI would be able to help actual administrators at the school level and at the board level to become a lot more efficient.
We've seen the medical community start to do this already. Another thing you say is going to help is creating career pathways for teachers. Isn't teaching the pathway already? What are you talking about here?
Well, I think one of the things that's going to be very important is having multiple streams of income and doing multiple different things. And so if you have future-ready skills as a teacher using AI, it means that you can offset a lot of the different costs and a lot of the different income streams that you're going to need. And that can lead to a lot of creativity, which I think will really help with students because they're going to have to do that as well. You
know, where my brain goes though right away is the limitations of unions, of boards, and of the ministries themselves not being ready to keep up with the teachers who are AI ready and creative and eager to put it into place.
I think there's going to be a massive amount of pressure. We're going to see that geopolitical pressure to see AI raised to the top, and I think we have to put ourselves into position to prepare for that.
Oh my God, I've been holding my head because I know we're not ready. One piece around that might be getting lost in this discussion is about attracting and then keeping teaching talent. How important is it to support teachers and parents and the broader community to make sure that our teachers don't burn out, that they want to stay, that the good ones stay?
So one of the big things that we see across all of the OECD countries, we see that there is a lot of teachers that are leaving. There are 3 countries, Finland, Japan, and Singapore, that have high teacher retention. And one of the things that we see is a lot of support, rigorous academics, and a lot of funding and respect in the community for teachers in the teaching profession.
I was going to ask you, what does that mean in terms of support? What does that actually look like in the day-to-day?
So in the day-to-day, it may mean financial resources. In terms of teachers, it may mean things like actual physical resources. There are a lot of teachers today that, you know, if you said, how do you teach math? They don't have a math book. They don't have a math textbook. They don't have any resources today in Ontario, today, right now. Wow. And so that kind of stuff. There are lots of teachers that have to get medical reports to get their classroom cleaned from dust. So very fundamental things. I think bringing a lot of those things back into the classroom will be extremely helpful to retain teachers.
All of our conversations lily pad me to another one. We will have you back. Education strategist Dwayne Matthews, great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.